will be your host tonight. I also would like to greet our special guest, Mr. Peter van Tuyl from Nufikneso, Indonesia today, who will give an opening speech. Once again, welcome to the last webinar series organized by EDN Livable Cities this year, Orange Talk for Livable Cities. Is Village the Future? For this webinar, we are in collaborations with Nufikneso Indonesia and Holland Alumni Network. Before starting our event, I would like to express our gratitude for our organizing partners, Nufikneso Indonesia and Holland Alumni Network, also for our sponsors, Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, PT Propan Raya ICC, and Arteja, not to mention our partners, EDN NL, EDN United, IDN Global, and ECANET. First of all, I would like to introduce you to our organization, Indonesia Diaspora Network Livable Cities, or IDN Livable Cities, is a platform for ideas, resources, and a network to counterbalance unsustainable, inhuman, or over-commercialized development in cities by promoting best practices in Indonesian cities. Our activities are also supported by the Indonesian Embassy in The Hague, Indonesia Diaspora Network Global, and Indonesia Diaspora Network United. And I would like to introduce our sponsor tonight, Nufikneso Indonesia. It is a non-profit organization representing the Dutch knowledge sector in Indonesia. We are supported by the Dutch Ministry of Education, Culture and Science. The team delivers a full range of services connecting to the Dutch knowledge sectors with opportunities in Indonesia. In order to support the Dutch knowledge sector, the organization closely collaborates with the Embassy of the Kingdom of the Netherlands in Jakarta and a broad range of Dutch and Indonesian education institutions, as well as with a variety of relevant Indonesian government ministries, regional and local governments, research institutions, scholarship providers, international organizations, and the business sectors. Our extensive network enables the organization to facilitate collaborations between academia, government, and industry to build and sustain a successful knowledge economy. Furthermore, as the key facilitator of the Holland Alumni Network in Indonesia, the organization provides access to thousands of competent Indonesian professionals who studied in the Netherlands to enhance the bilateral cooperations, knowledge exchange, and trade relationship between Indonesia and Netherlands. Tonight in this event, we are going to be accompanied by remarkable resource persons. First, Mr. Singgih Susilo Kartono from Spedagi Movement, Mr. Endro Prasetyo Wahono from Holland Alumni Network Lampung and University of Lampung, Mr. Eko Prawoto from Rural Laboratory Moti, Mr. Harmen van de Waal from Creole Office for Resilient Cities and Architecture, Mr. Yuwono Imanto from PT Propan Raya ICC as our sponsor, and Mrs. Pauline Budianto from Indonesia Diaspora Network Livable City as moderator. It's important to know that the organizing committee has prepared door prizes for 5 lucky participants with the best Instagram story. Here's how to win the door prizes. Take a screenshot of your favorite moment during the webinar. Post these screenshots to your Instagram and share the post as an Instagram story. Do not forget to tag our accounts at Studi di Belanda, at Ikanedhan, at IDN Livable Cities, and use hashtag at Orange Talk for Livable Cities. 5 lucky winners will be announced by the end of the event. And now about the etiquette during the webinar. To run smoothly, the organizing committee will inform you several things. Keep your microphone muted during presentations and only unmuted when you would like to speak during the group discussions. Raise your questions by writing them on the Zoom chat box. And this webinar is recorded for documentation purposes. If you do not wish your face visible in the recording, you are welcome to turn your camera off. And for all participants, please do not forget to fill the presence form as written here and in the Zoom chat box. Without a further ado, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Peter van Tuyl, the director of Nuffic Neso Indonesia, to deliver his opening speech. The floor is yours, sir, and your time is 3 minutes.
Okay, good afternoon here in the Netherlands. Good evening for our friends in Indonesia. I am Peter van Tuyl. I am a Dutch person living in diaspora in Indonesia and currently in The Hague to visit my family here during the end of the year holidays. I am very happy and I really feel honored to be allowed to open this seminar. We're very happy with Nuffic Neso to sponsor this event, and thanks to the IDN network, thanks to Dito, of course, for helping out, and to the Holland Alumni Network for joining hands and making this possible. I'm aware that some of your work was recently shown during the Week of Indonesia Netherlands Education and Research, the Winter Week. For us, it is crucially important that we intensively engage with the Holland alumni. And as a matter of fact, the diaspora networks become more and more intertwined. What matters is that there is a large community of people in the Netherlands that has an affinity, that has a background in Indonesia, family relations, and the other way around. There is a lot of Indonesians in Indonesia that have studied in the Netherlands. So we're seeking an active relationship with people who have knowledge about the Netherlands, who know us, and the other way around. I often say this to the people who know me, that the relationship, what makes it special, the relationship between Indonesia and the Netherlands, that is not a political decision. It is not President Jokowi and Mark Rutte sitting together and deciding that the two countries have a relationship. The relationship sits in people like you and like me. I am married to an Indonesian woman and I live in Indonesia. But I'm born in The Hague, where I'm right now. I was playing as a child here at Scheveningen Beach. So I can relate to both sides of the story. And that is what gives the positive energy. I love Indonesia, I love the Netherlands. And there's a lot that we can share. There's a lot that we can do, and there's a lot where we can work on together. And the issue, which is the topic for the seminar, urbanization, making cities more sustainable, manage people, manage waste, manage water in more responsible ways. That is among the greater challenges of our time. It is, we often make that joke, the Dutch people, if there's one thing that is standing out here is that everyone is cycling. Well, I live in Jakarta. One of the interesting impacts of the COVID crisis is to see for the first time that really more people in Jakarta begin to cycle. And it's almost against the odds because it is dangerous, as you all know. But people make the effort, take the risk if you wish. And I feel it's only out of that drive that change will come in our urban environment. So I'm very interested to learn from all of you. These are simple observations, obviously, from my own personal experiences, but these are the things, this is the starting point. And then experts like yourself, you can bring it further, structure it more, structure the knowledge, and come with ideas and suggestions that hopefully will help the Netherlands and Indonesia to develop more sustainable urban environments. So thank you very much for organizing this seminar. Very happy to support it. And back to you, Ms. Moderator. Thanks a lot, and wishing you a very fruitful discussion today. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now we officially open the webinar, and I would like to introduce our moderator, Mrs. Pauline Budianto. A hostile environment may not be the best place for you to negotiate, let alone to accomplish anything. But years of restoring urban slum dwelling and rehabilitating the inhabitants taught Pauline to see beneath the hostility and transcend it into an hospitable environment. Since graduating with a Master's of Architecture from TU Delft, the Netherlands, in 1997, with her thesis on restoration of rural slum areas in Kenya, Pauline Budianto has honored a certain skills in conflict resolutions. She has worked with various government bodies in restoring sub-marginalized groups, starting from Delft municipality on rehabilitation of deteriorated urban mass housing. Also with the government of Kenya on empowering street children in the urban slums in Nairobi, and one of the latest with the government of Jakarta on conflict resolutions of Muara Angke Integrated Fishers Village. She currently heads Separate of Nations, a movement focused on holistic development projects and urban poor settlement. Without a further ado, I give the floor to Pauline Budianto to open the discussions tonight. Pauline.
Thank you, Hasti. Good evening for audience in Jakarta, in Surabaya, Semarang, maybe all across one of the islands. But good afternoon in Holland and other countries in Europe joining us. Thank you. It's an honor to host in this last seminar for this year. And this is our sixth seminar concerning the village. What is the village has for a value to offer to us city people? Have you noticed, just like Peter Van Tuyl said, what the impact of the pandemic was? Have you seen people cultivating plants, flowers, and continue the foundation of urban farming, but now directly toward healthy living and hydroponic veggie garden directly from the garden to the table? Have you noticed that? That's exactly what we are going to learn from this session, because we are facing a fast changing environment and also challenging time. But as always, challenging times will produce its desert flowers. This pandemic transformation will happen anyhow. Look like more and more families cycling together, more and more families joining training sessions for self-sufficiency in food. They're providing food for their own family, for their own neighborhood. And I see we really need to rethink the value of village living, which propagate the lifestyle of zero waste society, and it's one of the foundation of the circular economy. And as in 2019, we have more than 44% of Indonesian living in the rural area, spread over 70,000 villages. That's enormous potential. And that's why we want to invite you to rethink together with us. Once long time ago, a French publication launched a seminar with an intriguing topic called Smart Cities, Stupid Villages. Well, that's to provoke discussion. That's to be honest, how we value cities and forget about villages. But that's not going to happen tonight. We at the Livable City we are really desiring for smart cities and thriving villages. Smart cities often focus on the big data issues and IoT, Internet of Things, but we also longing for a futuristic villages, taking their future into their own hands, of course, with the help of digital technologies. That's what this seminar is attempting for, what we can learn together from the villages while facing a fast challenging environment and challenging times. I will go through the rundown. First, we will have the presentation from our first keynote speaker, Mr. Singgi Susilo Kartono, for 18 minutes. And then we have the second speaker, Mr. Endro Prasetyo Wahono, also for 18 minutes. And then we have 7 minutes of reflection from commentator one, Mr. Eko Prawoto, and also another 7 minutes from commentator number two, Mr. Harman van der Waal. And then after that, we have 15-minute presentation from the sponsor, Mr. Yuwanto Imanto. And then we will have automatic breakout sessions. And in that session, in that group discussion, feel free to discuss and to unmute your microphone if you want to speak and have a lively discussion. After the breakout session for 20 minutes, you will be ushered directly back to the main floor, back to the main session, while we will have the conclusion and reflection from me as the moderator. And then after that, 3 to 5 minutes of the closings, and we are taking pictures together, do not forget. And then we will also have like the door prize, yeah, the 5 door prize. Don't forget to take a screenshot. And without further ado, I will invite Pak Singgi Susilo Kartono to present his amazing projects. Mr. Singgi Susilo Kartono is inspired by Alvin Toffler. His book about the prediction of the future shock. And at that time, Pak Singgi decided to move back to his hometown after completing his degree in product design in ITB. His dream of living and working in the village while keeping connected internationally. These ideas have enchanted him even more. With his hard and unyielding efforts, Pak Singgi has proven Toffler's convincing prediction while discovering the extraordinary village's potentials. Magno is the name of the brand from his wooden craft projects. Was not only distributed internationally, but also recognized by a prestigious international design award and widespread publication. The concern on the current rural situation motivated Pak Singgi to develop Spedagi, a village revitalization movement iconized by the bamboo bike. And Pak Singgi knowledge of the design is not merely about the creation of the product, but more importantly, as an effort to improve the livelihood and the maintain nature sustainability. And in 2020, Pak Singgi proposed a spiral spiritual. It is a macro conception of how the global sustainable livelihood possibly attain. Pak Singgi, the floor is yours for 18 minutes, and I will give you a warning at 15 minutes so that you then will have the remaining 3 minutes to conclude your presentation. The floor and the screen is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Bu Pauline. Thank you to introduce me in very good explanation. Hello everyone, good evening for friends in Indonesia, selamat sore, and good afternoon for friends in Netherlands. I feel a little bit nervous because I'm not usually speak fluently in English. Yeah, I try my best, but I also will maybe read some text I prepare to keep the time. It's not exceed, yeah, from the 18 minutes. Okay, I will start to share my screen. Yeah. The title of my presentation is Syro Spiritual. The word is maybe it's a strange word, yeah, but actually it came from the Syro. It come from city and rural, and spiritual came from spiritual and material. The essence of this concept actually is the importance of a balanced life. The story actually began in 1995 when I decided to live and work in my home village. There are many reasons that prompted this decision. One of is Alvin Toffler's book, Future Shock. This book builds a beautiful dreams about living and working in a village but connected internationally. Yeah, Magno. Magno is Magno project is my first milestone. This project is basically an experiment on the village potential, as well as my way of survival in the village. The Magno project show the Magno project shows that the village actually a huge potential. It only needs attention and seriousness in assisting and supporting it. In Magno project, in Magno product made by local craftsmen who previously had no skills at all. With new craft methods, they can produce high quality products. Magno has a good design, deep philosophy, high craftsmanship, and has serious attention to environmental aspects. Because of this, Magno got a positive market response. At its peaks from 2008 till 2011, Magno has sold in almost major cities in USA, Europe, and Japan, received extensive international publication, as well as prestigious international award. In 2009, Magno Radio selected as Product of the Year at the Design Museum in London. My dream of placing Indonesian wood product as one of the world's design icon has been achieved, and is more proud because it is actually achieved by village-made product. Design, which was previously associated with cities and industrial products, is not true. Magno show us best product design made from local material, handmade, and was from village. But in the other side, I'm not satisfied with Magno project. It is good as a trigger, but the impact is still limited for village community. Spedagi come from word speda, mean bicycle, and pagi means morning. A morning cycling which I initially aimed to maintain my health, later become a trigger for the development of bamboo bikes after seeing the fact that bamboo bikes were developed in Europe and America, the place that naturally difficult to find bamboo. The abundance of bamboo has made bamboo feel ordinary and unattractive to us. Start from 2013, I developed, the development process is start. I just found out that bamboo is the best damp absorbing material for bicycle frames. Jumping from a small size wood-based product to a bicycle, which is a means of transportation, is certainly not easy. There are many problems that must studied and solved. The experience on developing Spedagi bamboo bike shows that locality will lead to discover originality. The Spedagi bamboo bicycle is the first bamboo bicycle in the world that use giant bamboo. In Indonesia, name is bambu petung, and the bilah tangkup. This is the bilah tangkup. And the bilah tangkup construction. It results a slim, beautiful, strong, and comfortable bicycle. Learn from Magno, when we work in the village, there is no choice to make a good quality product with all the local potential. A good product creates positive contrast because village products are usually not good quality. In 2008, Magno received the Good Design Award from Japan. 10 years later, Spedagi received the Gold Award Good Design Japan. It means the best 20. Among the top 20, only Spedagi is bicycle manufacturer, again showing that villages can produce a world-class product, even only with available technology there. Spedagi movement started when I saw many people visiting my village, because they were interested in seeing and trying our bamboo bikes. Among those who came, there were many who had good educational and professional background. This has become an inspiration to solve one of the biggest problems in the village, namely the loss of thinker due to the brain drain from village to cities. The Spedagi movement focuses on village revitalization effort by involving external resources in collaboration with local resources to create prosperous, sustainable, self-sufficient village. The Spedagi bamboo bicycle was later used as an icon and symbol of this movement. Spedagi is a metaphor for village revitalization itself, made from material that considered of no value, an old material, but when proceeded seriously, can produce a high quality and high added value products. To accelerate and expand the spread of this movement, Spedagi initiated the International Conference on Village Revitalization. The conference must be held in the village, and its meeting place for village activists has been held for 3 times. 2020 should have been the 4th, but due to the COVID pandemic being postponed on September 2021, it took place in Netherlands. Given the unfavorable condition, ICVR4 will be conducted online, maybe earlier. One of the most prominent project of Spedagi movement is Pasar Papringan. The ICVR2 pre-conference project is an effort to revitalize bamboo garden with creative approach, transforming previously abandoned Papringan into traditional market without destroying the bamboo vegetation itself. Boredom and inferiority seem to be problems that exist in almost aspects of rural society. The right approach will fight boredom and inferiority, and in turn foster love and self-confidence. In every activity, I always try to find the basic values. Magno with wood as the main material give me the opportunity to understand three basic values of wood: life, balance, and limit. From these three things, on 2011, I compiled Magnovesto, a thought about sustainability that put changes in human attitudes and human ways of life as basic prerequisite. Through Spedagi project, the Spiral Spiritual concept is compiled, a scenario to realize the ideal global sustainability from the perspective of village and underdeveloped or developing countries as an alternative to reach a balance of life. Spiral Spiritual actually inspired by the slog scenario, small, local, open, and connected, compiled by Enzio Mancini, who discovered the phenomenon of the emergence of people who live in small communities, live from local sources, but are open and connected internationally. This scenario really caught my attention. Sorry. I show a form of the future of the village. Spiral Spiritual is a scenario about global future. The scenario out of village explains what has happened, what is happening, and what the world community should do if we want to realize the goals of global life sustainability. The shift in human civilization is not only a linear forward movement, but also a vertical, spiritual, and material shift. An unbalanced situation due to the dominance of the spiritual and material side encourage people to seek a new balance. The industrial era has dragged the life to the bottom of the abyss of materialism, with the impact of destruction of nature on a global scale and the emergence of inner emptiness. One of world's biggest problems is imbalance, but I see phenomena that lead to the formation of a more balanced life. An old, more balanced life is the inspiration for the future. The prototype of a new civilization has begun to show its form. When old values reappears in new form, and opposite become friends. Developed countries are no longer moving into advanced industrial stage, but are trading new era into the post-industrial era. This shifting point is actually a very good momentum to create global togetherness and mutual cooperation, which are prerequisite for the realization of aspiration for the sustainable life on Earth. The nations that are developing or underdeveloped have the opportunity to go straight to a new era. They are near to the future, but have seen it as the past. The developed countries should help developing countries to see it as the future and invite them to work together towards a new era. The the post-industrial era and the spiral spiritual era. Actually, there is no obligation for a developing or underdeveloping country to become industrial country. What is the obligation for them actually is to reach a wealth both on uh, people wealth and the nature wealth. In 2009, Magno competed with the iPhone 3G at the Design for Asia Award Hong Kong Design Center. But interestingly, they both received equal award because they represent two different things. The iPhone is representing the achievement of human intellectuality. Magno is applied low-tech, natural material, and craft production method.
Singgi,
Yeah.
you have 3 minutes to conclude your presentation.
Okay,
Thank you.
Yeah. Magno, which is applied low-tech natural material and craft production method, tell us about the wisdom of design that criticize over consumerism. Even though I had opportunity to export to Japan, I decided not to export Spedagi bamboo bike to Japan because I see Japan has advanced bamboo bike, has advanced bamboo and bamboo technology, and all resources to be able to produce their own bamboo bike by themselves. Finally, the product developed and received a design award, and Spedagi movement in Japan was awarded Good Life Award. The Spedagi movement is now also one of the elective courses at Tokyo Soke University. The two things above show that to be equal, we don't have to be like them, but it is the differences that allow us to be equal. Village revitalization is one of the strategic and fundamental step because villages that were degraded during the industrial era are actually the source of almost all the world's problem. Advancement on information and technology and communication enable people to live anywhere, so that the advancement, prosperous and self-sufficient village will help help realize the rural-urban balance as well. The birth of purpose generation is no real indicator of spiritual phenomenon. The village revitalization driven by this generation will bring global life into the spiral spiritual era, where the goal of sustainability life in life great hopes to be realized. To achieve sustainable life, there are at least 5 important things to be realized. The first one is the growth of awareness of the main role of human, the most intelligent creature on earth, as guardian and protector of the nature. The second, the maintaining the balance of human population in the carrying capacity of nature. The third, the creation of new economic, political, social, and legal system that simultaneously benefit people and nature. The fourth, maintaining the development and utilization of science technology in the corridor of human and natural welfare. The fifth, the creation of international relations based on the principle of equality, diversity, brotherhood, and global mutual cooperation. Equality, togetherness, and global mutual cooperation are important conditions for realizing global sustainability. The United Nations, as the world institution that formulates SDGs, should begin to abolish veto rights, disrupt War II legacy organizations so that they are aligned with the goals that have been set and want to be realized together. An underdeveloped and developing country is like a village. An undeveloped country is like a city. We must place in the concept of spiral spiritual balance so that sustainability can be realized. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Singgi, for your groundbreaking innovation, your breathtaking creation. That spedagi, someday I wish to ride your spedagi. And who knows,
Yeah.
in the future, we might have another seminar series and we will give away the spedagi, speda bambu as door prize. Who knows? Keep in
Yeah.
touch. Keep in touch with us. Okay, our next speaker is Mr. Endro Prasetyo Wahono. He's from Holland Alumni Network in Lampung, University of Lampung. And Pak Endro was born in a peaceful small village in the foothill of Mount Anjas Moro. Currently, he is working as an associate professor at the University Lampung. And he had the opportunity to study water resources engineering at Universitas Brawijaya, University of Manitoba, IHC UNESCO Delft, and Universitas Gajah Mada. He also had the opportunity to study climate change at the United Nations University and explore community development at the University of Kentucky. Currently, he is doing research on environmental flow in Indonesia and also facilitating water-related community development in Lampung. Pak Endro, your time is 18 minutes and I will give warning sign at 15 minutes so that you have 3 extra minutes to conclude your presentation. The screen is yours, Pak Endro. Thank you.
Thank you, Bu Pauline. Ladies and gentlemen, I feel honored to be invited in this very valuable discussion. Let me share my screen. Okay, ladies and gentlemen and valuable guests, good evening and goeiedendag for a friend from Netherlands and European time. My presentation is basically my experience facilitating the community, particularly on the water-related development in the across the Lampung province, and that's why my presentation I put the title is "Lesson Learned from Villager." Okay, basically, I will start with the from the end. Actually, this is the conclusion. I put it on the first slide. The lesson actually from the village and from the villager actually many things, but I will highlight 4 things that I found this is very valuable for me, at least. And I think this is the something that we have to be learned and to have the what we call it the livable city in the future. The first thing is simplicity. The simplicity always help in living life. With simplicity, we become a lot of grateful for what we have already obtained. Then simplicity also makes time very slow and enjoyable. As Pak Singgi mentioned, this is the what you call it, the deep philosophy of the village and the what and how the villager keep the harmony with the nature, and how they uh, reduce stress also, and something that when we feel when we live on the village, then makes us, it's not necessary to be rushed. And the second thing that we have to learn from the villager is collective work. Of course, this is the something become more rare and hard to find in the cities. Communal work on the mutual cooperation is a social capital that also what you call it has economic impact on the rural communities. Especially, that the most of the villager is uh, uh, working on the agriculture field, and also something that not only on the agriculture itself, but on the social activity, they also applying this collective work. I have witnessed how the people somewhere in Masuji lift the frame of the house manually, step by step, from one place to another place, working together with no cost. So this is the voluntary basis. Then the next thing I think is already mentioned, very very deep philosophy by Pa Singgi, which is how the connection between human and nature. Nature never lies. By managing and being friendly with nature, nature will also protect us and provide benefit for us. This is, I think, is a fact. And nature actually is, like when we live in village, there is feeling that we more, engage with the nature. Then this is, more help the villager to have something to support their life, daily life. And the last thing that I would like to discuss is culture. How to culture encourage the villager to be in harmony with nature. This is, of course, some places have a different kind of what you call it, the culture, different kind of what you call it, the valuable concept of norm, and that they have already adopted by rural community. And this kind of norm and culture promote harmony, not only in social life, but also with what you call it, the connection and harmony between human and nature. And I would like to present the what you call it, the my experience actually facilitating the community development from the coastal side, and also the go through upland to the hilly side of the river. Then we maybe start with the coastal side of the river. This is the Margasari in this estuary of the Skambung River in the Lampung province. They have a very nice mangrove area. And then actually previously this is the fishery pond that after that, they face with the sedimentation problem, and they start to learn how to learn from the nature that come up with the silvophysical concept. This is kind of harmony between nature and community, and by applying silvophysical, they provide very nice and very improve the production of the fishery pond. Beside the fishery pond, they also have opportunity to improve and initiate the what they call the tourism, mangrove tourism. Of course, this is the opportunity to improve the income, but also improve the awareness of the people to manage and to protect their nature and well, mangrove area. So this is the concept is how to turn a lemon into lemonade. So of course, this is the something that we can learn from the villager, how to survive from the limitation and use the all of the asset, social asset and the nature asset to become more sustainable. And we come to the a bit upper region of the river. This is the area of Mesuji. This is actually the floodplain of the Mesuji River. There are some, like irrigation based on the swampy area. This is the development to have the new land and for the cultivation and for agriculture, but also for the resettlement. After we doing some asset mapping, we realized that the villager community usually very humble about their nature asset and social asset. They are not realized that they have a very valuable asset. So what we have to do is how to discuss with them, and something that we can learn from them is actually the simplicity and how they manage the nature is actually a valuable asset that we can applying in the future. This is also the example how the villagers come up with the very innovative solution to have rainwater harvesting, because on the swampy area it is difficult to find the fresh water. So they come up with the concept of lepung, beside to have the fresh water. They can also to conserve the field and to support the agriculture production. And for the economic, sustainability, they also have the the solution how to cultivate a different harvest period of the what you call it, the vegetation, and also the, as you can see on the screen, this is paddy combined with the rubber tree. So this is the innovation that they have a different kind of variety of the production of the agriculture, so they can manage the economically sustainable of of their agriculture. This is also in the Mesuji River floodplain in Mesuji in Lampung. And of course, what I mentioned in the beginning, that the collective work is, something that, is very, very common. They doing something like collective work, or even on the agriculture production. In the image in the below image, this is the process of the agriculture, beginning of the culture, cultivating the corn during the agriculture season, and also the maintaining the irrigation canal. This is also working by the villager in the concept of collective work. And they also have something that maybe this is the long way learning. It's very nice, adaptive house. That actually this is the house that usually built in flood-prone area, and also the riverside, so they can adapt the fluctuation of the water level of the river. So this is the kind of how the villager learn how to make the adapting the situation and adapting the nature behavior. This is also something that we can learn from the villager. They also have, I think this is common for Indonesian fisheries, environmental sound fish trap. The people get fishes with environmentally technology. It is called bubu. You know that using bubu, you can only catch the fish with a certain size. Thank you, Bu Pauline. I will speed up.
3 minutes to conclude and finalize.
Thank you, Bu Pauline. And this is also the example how the Oxbow Lake in the floodplain, they managed it to be a valuable fish pond, then also to improve their income and economic sustainable. And this is the riverside also, how they use the what you call it, the bamboo craft, and they use the bamboo for the protection of the riverbank. So this is, I think, is connected with Pa Singgih already mentioned. So I will skip it. And the other thing is on the upland region, the villager also innovative how to have the source of energy by using micro hydro. It is very simple example how villager come up with the green technology and optimize their natural asset. Of course, what you call it, the technology have to be improved, but actually the idea to have the innovation and how to solve the limitation of the condition of the village. This is the idea actually. And the last slide, I would like to cite the this is the PhD thesis from my friend Mawiti. It is graduated from Wageningen University. She mentioned and highlight how Suba irrigation is something like proven that culture is is a key to have a harmony among the people and the nature. So that's all, Bu Pauline, ladies and gentlemen. Hope that we can learn based on my experience facilitating the community, particularly on the water-related development. Thank you, Bu Pauline. I will
Thank you,
give
Pak
it back to you.
That was such a heartwarming presentation. Thank you, Pak Endro. As you
Yes,
say, to embrace water is for the livability in the villages, and not only the livability in the cities are
sure.
dependent
Yeah.
on the water, but as we say, take care of the water bodies, take care of the nature, and the nature will take care of you. It's amazing
Sure.
statement. It's also
Yes.
like the respect the creator, and the creation will embrace you. And lemon to lemonade, from what the world has recession, we have reception, and from pandemi kita bersemi ya Pak. Terima kasih.
Sure. Sure.
After listening to both presentations, we currently would like to hear some reflection from our commentators. Our first commentator today is Mr. Eko Prawoto from Rural Laboratory and MOTI, Museum of the Ordinary Things. That's the project he pioneered in the villages. And Pak Eko Prawoto was born in a small town of Purworejo in Central Java in August of 1958. He graduated from Gadjah Mada University as a Bachelor of Architecture in 1982, and from the Berlage Institute Amsterdam as Master in Architecture in 1993. Since 1985, he became a lecturer in the Faculty of Architecture and Design in Duta Wacana Christian University. In the year of 2000, he established a design studio, Eko Prawoto Architecture Workshop. Bapak Prawoto works mostly on small-scale projects such as private house, art galleries, or community facilities. Enhancing locality has become the design strategy to integrate architecture with social, cultural, and environmental context. He's also doing art installation or community art projects, and his works has been shown in some great events like Venice Biennale 2000, Art Alart in Gwangju Biennale, Echigo Tsumari Art Triennale, Kamikatsu Art Festival, Un Young People Art Project in Korea, Common Ground in Australia, Regional 12 in Austria, and recently, Singapore Biennale 2013, Holbæk, Denmark 2016, and Sonsbeek 2016. Doing architecture is a journey, searching for the new balance in this ever-changing world. Architecture is a mean to maintain the spirit of togetherness in the community and living in harmony with the nature. Pak Eko Prawoto, your time is 7 minutes. I will give you the warning time just at the 7 minutes. Thank you. The floor and the screen is yours, Pak.
Thank you so much, Bu Pauline. Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. Uh, it's such a big honor for me to be able to be with you tonight. To add my introduction, I moved to the city, from the city to the village in Kulon Progo about 6 years ago. now I am considered myself as a villager. I Well, the purpose of moving in the village is to learn and to understand more about the village life. First, I would like to comment on, is the village the future? It's for who? It sounds for me, it's too urban centered. Uh, it's not balanced in a way. Uh, but yeah, it's okay. Uh, I believe that the relationship between city and the village, it should be reconsidered. The city is not only the model for development. I believe that the village should have uh, their own model of development. So we cannot perceive the village as not yet uh, an urban, but it has its own destiny, I think. Um, and to achieve a more prosperous life, I think we have to think a lot of homework for the village. Mm, and now I realize that the village is under enormous pressure, both from inside and from outside. The the outside is, of course, the influence from the city through the media and many other things, and from the inside, the village life, it's now kind of losing their confidence. So they try to imitate what is happening in the city. Uh, the next, I I've been thinking that the village actually have so many things. We could think about timber, for instance, or other building materials like stone, sand, roof tiles, brick, or bamboo, and also other products like coffee or cacao or tobacco, or other agriculture product, rice, grain, and many sort of things, all of the spices, and all the meat like chicken, cow, lambs, and also so many kind of flowers and fruits, for instance, and many more. But the question is why there are so many poverty pockets in the village. And it seems that we face the problem, which is asymmetrical growth. The As it is mentioned by Pak Singge, the village experience brain drain because there are not so varied job opportunity, and the younger generation move to the city. And we in the village only sell basically raw materials and no added value. Um, and if we see on the other side, the city is overcrowded, but the city has so many privilege, I think. All the money mostly circulated in the city, and all the facilities, the infrastructure is in the city. Um, but if we could reduce the tension between the city and the village, maybe we could also reduce the problem which happen in the city. So we could think other way how to create more balanced relationship between the city and the rural area, I think. Uh, from the Pak Singge presentation, Spedagi movement, I think we all learned that it really proved that the village has a certain capacity to solve their problem. And more we could uh, reflect upon what Pak Singge did is a more balanced relationship in the process of development, shifting from the greedy industrial capitalistic to a more just and balanced attitudes, balance in achieving materiality, and also spirituality. I think this kind of concept of develop, we could say about the development with consciousness, a balance between humanity, nature, and spirituality, I think could be, we could use that, or we could think about that, and maybe applied in other villages, which it 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 is, for me, is quite a very a strong references, I think. And it also conveys that how to re-establishing the self-esteem uh, of the villagers, I think. And the village has the knowledge to live more balanced, I believe, to live in respect with the nature, which now we know that that's the city, which is fighting very hard with their green design, green architecture, sustainable architecture, or sustainable city, or livable city, and that kind of effort, trying to get more balanced life, and we, from this how to say, the presentation from Pak Indro, I think we could learn that the villagers has a knowledge, has experience that we can learn how to live in harmony with the nature, because agriculture is culture. It's, they have a lot of knowledge how to deal with nature. And to respect Mother Nature is the spiritual root of all of the culture. So the village still have that kind of attitude, which is very, very important. And I'm thinking about mindful development, which it need a spiritual foundation, which is respect for to Mother Nature as the main concept to make modernization or development. And if we should see the village as the future, maybe in the light of this perspective, how we perceive the village not as a problem, solution for the urban problem, but more about the idea or the perspective how we respect the nature. And if we see the life force of the villagers, we could learn also how they can use a very simple, very minimal amount of resources, but very effectively. I think this is very inspiring compared to our lifestyle, which is very consumptive and not really care about the environment. And to conclude my reflection, I think we should think that village is more like a feminine, and the city is more a masculine. And what we need now to recover the problem that the city is facing, we should introduce more feminine approach, especially toward Mother Nature. More feminine approach, which is more caring, more inclusive, and more giving, to reach a more sustainable attitude, which is more respect to the Mother Nature. I think this value that we should promote. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for your valuable remark, Pak Eko. So it is between the city and the village is not a competition, but it is more a relationship, more a healthy, balanced, and fair relationship. And thank you for inspiring and urging us to make a transition from being a chaotic urbanist to a noble villager, just like you. Thank you, Pak. And now we will have the second commentator, reflection number 2, from Harman van der Waal. Harman is from Kriel. Kriel is from Office for Resilient Cities and Architecture. And Harman van der Waal graduated with honorable mention in 1994 at the Technical University of Delft, 2 years before me, Harman. And in April 2000, he founded Kriel Office for Resilient Cities and Architecture. Kriel proposed innovative typologies for community living in apartment towers, comprehensive programs for bottom-up kampung improvement through self-development by homeowners in Bandung. He collaborated in master planning in Philippines and 3 Indonesian eco-districts. Harman van der Waal studies the impact of design on the human environment in the broadest sense. He coined the word privacy script in a well-received research on the impact of architectural spaces on social interaction in apartment buildings. He leads an ongoing research project for innovation and learning environments in vocational schools in Indonesia. Harman organized workshops and seminars with local and Dutch experts in order to develop tools for the green growth of Indonesian desa kota area. Harman, really good to see you here. The floor is yours for 7 minutes. I will give the warning alarm sound when you've reached the 7 minutes. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It's very nice to be here too, and it was beautiful to hear the previous speakers, all of them having such interesting takes on the village, on maybe the promise of the COVID crisis. We should not only look at it as a threat, but also as an opportunity. And I think that's a very interesting approach. I was very moved by the words of Pa Eko. I think, well, I've worked with Eko very often, and I'm always very moved by his approach, by the beautiful designs that he's making, but also by the complete way that he immerses himself in his love for the Indonesian landscape, the Indonesian nature, and the Indonesian villages. And for that reason, also, I'm very interested. I was listening very interested. I was very interested in hearing the 2 speakers. They're beautiful projects. And the reason why I'm so interested is that I have this kind of bond with Indonesia as well, like all of you. I grew up in Indonesia, and I really remember walking through the landscapes of Indonesia. And these landscapes were always so beautiful because they were, and that's different than in the Netherlands. They were very, very accessible. In the Netherlands, landscapes are to look at. In Indonesia, a landscape is to immerse yourself in, to walk through. And what I like very much is that these landscapes are always a complete mix of nature, of human intervention. You can see that for ages, for centuries, ideas on how to work with water and water management trickled down and created beautiful landscapes. And I see that's continuing. I see how the landscape, how the farmer is still using the landscape in a very pragmatic way. So again, when in Holland, everything is done because it is allowed, because it's planned, you can see here in these kind of landscapes that things are done because it's possible. So people see the possibilities, and they see the possibilities because they know the nature, they know the place that they're in. And this has been going on for centuries, and it's also going on now, even when completely new developments come up, because people from the city are moving to the landscape. The city is eating away maybe from the landscape, but also something new emerges, like the way how before the intricate mix of the village and the agriculture and the water and the nature was done. That's what we see now also with new programs, with urban programs. And somehow it's extremely exciting. it's led to a new word, desa kota. That's why I think we should not talk about the village against the city, but more indeed about the relationship between the two. It's not one or the other, but maybe there are some ways in between. There are some forms or shapes in between. And you can see this desa kota landscape as being very exciting because it's promising. Probably it's promising because of its green, the promise of a green metropolitan environment. That's a bit how Pasingi showed us in his slides. But it's also exciting because it's not only promising, but it's also scaring, because we can see how a lot of ecological damages appear, how it's, as in the words of Pa Eko, it kind of increases the segregation because all the money goes to the city and not to the villages. So I think somehow we are facing a very exciting landscape and also a very exciting time, because now we are at the threshold where I think one needs to really think of how to deal with this interesting these interesting elements. For those reasons, I was really happy to hear the two keynote speakers. I really loved the new words of Pasingi. They were strange and new and interesting. I did really see how, what in his first slide, he said, someday many people will live in remote areas. Basically, and that's what Pa Eko said, this is seen from an urban perspective, because from the villagers, it's not a remote area, of course. But it does reflect how the ties between the city and the village are apparent now. And in these COVID times, probably are very relevant. People move out of the city because maybe the city is just too condensed. I also think that because of these linkages, we should not be too sentimental, and maybe in this I'm not completely in line with Pa Eko. We should not be too sentimental about the purity of the village. I think everybody is allowed to his own development, and I think this will happen anyway. But what is interesting is to see how people in the villages can really create their own quality, create their own context. And for that reason, I really love to see the bamboo marbles of Pasingi. And I really loved also the examples of Pa Endro. And I think it's really interesting. I think it's a good and very interesting approach to all the power that's lying in this community, this giant community of people outside the cities. For me, as a planner, it's very important to see how we can keep the beauty of these landscapes. And I see that it's difficult. As I already said, we're at the threshold. We can either go to the point where the village is actually not yet urban, and I think that's not a good direction. We can also go to another area, and that's that we actually distinguish certain landscapes. I still need 1 or 2 minutes, I'm sorry. But that we distinguish the landscape as a whole. And to distinguish the landscape as a whole, we should not focus on one village, but we should focus on the relationships between villages. So as planners, we should be able to actually facilitate these relationships. What you see now is that there's a number of things happening. Highways are being planned. Part of it is horrible because it separates the landscape. Part of it is good because it also allows villages to get a mandate for land value capture, which means that they can actually also make money out of it. Villages are also more and more independent, and I think that's very interesting. So they can take charge of their own urbanization or their own development rather than that. But what happens if every village is doing that for its own? Then what you will see things happening like what we see in the Netherlands, that at the edges of the villages, the programs are being installed that nobody wants. And basically it's killing the landscape. So what I think is, it's very important to create this kind of platform where all the villages are together seeing what kind of possibilities are there within the capacity of their own landscape. And that also means that we need to know more about this landscape, that we should not only talk about the village against the city, but we should talk about the specific landscape. And these landscapes are different. They're all, every one of them are specific. There's a specific landscape in Bantul. There's a very specific landscape around the Borobudur area. The area around Ubud, for various reasons, is very interesting and also very specific. And these are all areas where modernity and tradition are mixed. I think if we successfully are able to put that down and to also communicate this, then actually those things that would be seen as a threat could become also opportunities. And I really hope, also with the work of Pa Endro and Pa Singgi, that this can become the future.
Okay, thank you, Harman, for your encouraging and uplifting reflection that I think found its resource in your love and passion for Indonesia, for its specific landscape, to recognize the growth and the possibility also in the future. Also, thank you for the encouraging statement that pandemic is not just a threat, but certainly an opportunity. Let's now move to the presentation from our sponsor, Mr. Yuwono Imanto from PT Propanraya ICC. Pak Yuwono Imanto was born in Pekalongan, and he is the director of PT Propanraya ICC, a paint manufacturer company in Indonesia. He recently received his doctoral degree from University of Indonesia. Besides his professional work, he has an interest in creative economy development in Indonesia. His interest brought him to be one of the advisory board of Indonesia Creative Cities Network, ICCN, and he's the initiator of Propan Nusantara Architecture Program. Due to his dedication and hard work, PT Propan Raya has initiated a series of design competition focused on Indonesia's vernacular architecture and also published many books on similar topics. Pak Yuwono, the floor and the screen is yours. Your time is 15 minutes, and I will give the warning alarm sign also nearing the end. You may share from the presentation from your own screen. Thank you.
Thank you, Bu Pauline. Good evening and good afternoon for ladies and gentlemen, the honor attendant of the webinar. And also thanks to the organizer for the Orange Talk of Livable Cities who invite me to be a speaker from the sponsor. Let me share my presentation. Okay, already shown in my presentation. It's already there. Hello, Bu Pauline. Is my slide is already shown?
It's already shown, Pak.
Okay. Let me start with my presentation. Nusantara Architecture for Indonesia Tourism and the contribution of Propan Raya. Sorry. Let me start with the discussion about what's the difference among the city, town, and village. A village is the small community in a rural area. A town is a populated area with fixed boundaries and local government. a city is a large or important town. Allow me to extend the discussion today about village, not only about the size of the area, but also about the mindset of a social culture on those places. We know that in Indonesia, there are 98 cities or kota or town, and 416 regencies or kabupaten. We know that most of kabupaten or regency has much bigger size of area than city or town. But the social culture there normally more rural than city or town. So allow me to discuss a village tonight, not only about size, but also village, also kabupaten or regency in Indonesia, and maybe also a small town, not only small community and a rural area like the definition in this slide. I worried my presentation is a wrong topic with the term of the discussion today is village the future, but I continue my presentation. Allow me to refer the discussion from the collaborative innovation book written by myself and Dr. Hari Sungkari, the Deputy of Infrastructure and Destination Development from Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, and with Professor Yosep Triyotomo, who is the Professor of Nusantara Architecture. In the preface from the former head of the Creative Economy Agency of Republic Indonesia, Pak Triawan mentioned that based on 2015 statistical data, about 53.3% of Indonesian citizens live in cities. And by 2035, the projection will be 66.6% of the Indonesian population will live in cities area. And the projection of Indonesia population live in the city area will be 75% in 2045. The question is, we will let it go, or maybe we can do something from this data. And from the other preface from Dr. Hendari Dharma, who is the President Director of Propan Raya, he said that Indonesia has 17,500 islands, 34 provinces, 514 regency cities, 714 tribes, and more than 1,100 local languages spread out from Sabang to Merauke. That means that we have a very potential creative industry and tourism as the potential to become main competitiveness of this country, Indonesia economy. And on the other preface, the former Minister of Tourism, Dr. Arif Yahya, said that tourism and creative economy are two mutually interrelated sectors and the backbone of Indonesia economy in the future. And the natural, cultural, and man-made rich of Indonesia are tourism attraction sources to bring in tourist and creative economy potential resources. And also in 2015, our president mentioned that creative industry and tourism industry must be the backbone of Indonesia economy. So the question is urban tourism development or village and rural tourism development. How we will do it in Indonesia? Which one, or as Pak Singgi said, maybe the balance, how to balance about two of them. And as a sponsor, so I will talk about what Propan Raya will contribute for tourism development in Indonesia. Is village the future? Let's discuss about the 17 subsector of creative industry in creative economy in the new Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy. One application, architecture, interior design, design communication visual, design product design, fashion, film, animasi and video, photography, craft, culinary, music, publishing, game developer, advertising, performing art, fine art, TV, and radio. And yeah, like Bu Pauline said that actually I am not an architect. My background is civil engineer, marketing, and management. But since 2012, I have the opportunity to lead Propan Raya team together with the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy to conduct a series of architecture design competition 2012 until 2019 with the architecture with the name of Nusantara architecture with that raise local culture using local material and also green design. The slide is show the some of the winner of the design competition is like Baruga Tambi in Central Sulawesi by Reynaldo Theodore is first winner of the Nusantara Cultural House Design Contest, and this is Baluju Mandalika by Harley is the first winner of Tourism Souvenir Center Design Contest in 2018. This is Oti Balbane Morotai. Morotai is the place winner of the 2017 Nusantara Restaurant Design Competition. And number 4 is not from the Nusantara Design Competition, but just I would like to show the bamboo village at Bandung Regency that use Nusantara architecture that trace local culture. And also is some of the design of Nusantara architecture from the design competition and also for the other places like Banyuwangi Airport that trace Osing culture. I would like to mention that Banyuwangi for me is the very good ideal or good model that the region, Mr. Afar Anas, successfully raised the economy of Banyuwangi within 10 years by developing the creative industry in Banyuwangi and then using the local culture, orchestrate the ecosystem among the community and then the university and then the government and also the business like architect. And from 2017, Propan Raya also supported the creative city development by government, in this case, the Creative Economy Agency. The objective of creative city is raise the potential of creative industry in the city or regency and also using architecture as the iconic design to attract tourism. So the objective of creative city is how to use the creative industry and tourism as the backbone of the economy. And it's the example of Propan product to support for subsector in creative industry, which are architecture, so the design interior, and craft. Is the example of the range of product of Propan Raya that support interior furniture and handicraft. Is example that is the craft. If the craft not finished by finishing like a Propan Raya product, the value added is very low. Is with the creativity, it will raise the value, and the craftsman can sell is higher commercially value. And also Propan product to give added value for wooden waste product with finishing, so it can raise the value and also the price. And it's the Propan Raya product for Nusantara architecture. We have a full range of paint for architecture Nusantara, mostly Ultran wood care used for the Nusantara architecture building, let's say Banyuwangi Airport, all of using our product name Ultran Lasur from the wood care series. And then it's the revitalization of Kawasan Seribu Rumah Gadang. It is under completion now. The architect is Yuri Antar, and it's a Puri Bamboo Tourism Destination, finished last year in Kabupaten Bandung or Bandung Regency last year, inaugurated by the former minister Pak Arif Yahya, and it's a first height of Nusa Penida using our product Ultran Lasur, range of wood care series. And then it's a pavement in Bali, designed by Ketut Ardana. And when I discussed with him, Ketut Ardana said, actually, Bali is not a city. Bali is a big village. It's very interesting. And in the Kampung Natalembur Garut destination in Garut, West Java is under completion using our Ultran wood care and our also wall paint and synthetic paint. And see the example of other product that support the village destination. Let's say Kampung Kramat destination using our wall paint and synthetic paint. It is the Desa Waruken cultural destination Dayak. It is a kampung thematic Penjaringan Old Town city Jakarta using our wall paint and using the design of the Mr. John Martono from Bandung. Is the revitalization of Desa Sijuk Heritage, Lestarikan Rumah Adat using our synthetic paint. And then it's Kampung Thematic, part of Tangerang Tourism City, using our wall paint with the design of mural, thematic mural. And the last slide, I will mention again and again that to achieve of the objective, we have to have ecosystem of the city or regency or village. That is the direction of the government is very important, even the central government, and then from the governor or mayor or region. And the business level must be the department head of the regency or even the headman of the village, and also the role of architect, rural planner, rural design, product designer, and they have to cooperate or to collaborate with university or research center institution, and then with the community, like maybe the architect with IAI or other association, maybe urban design association or rural design association. And the role of government start with the direction and then supporting the collaboration with the policy, with the support, and also the building material support is also here, supporting industry like Propan Raya is the role is here to achieve the innovation capability, to achieve the government finally with the economic value, environment value, social value, and cultural value. And in this, the media is very important to announce or to promote these activities, but with the positive active promotion, not with the hoax promotion. So this is called the ecosystem of the city or regency or village to achieve the goal. Village is the future. Okay, it's my last slide. Propan ready to support both urban and rural tourism in Indonesia. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you for your presentation, Pak Yuwono. We truly appreciate your dedication for Indonesian architecture and art, and for the collaboration between so many stakeholders. That's really important. It really amazed me that Propan under your hand is not only producing all varieties of paints, but mainly you succeed to cover, to coat, and to paint equatorial archipelago in all arrays of beauty and rainbow. Thank you again, Pak Yuwon.
Yeah, welcome. Thank you.
Now this is the time where we will discuss our topic about the village in small groups. The organizer has divided you automatically to 5 groups, and each group will have one moderator, one note taker, and each group will be accompanied by one resource person. So the group discussion 1 under the moderator Wibi Chok and note taker Maura Bintang Lestari, accompanied by Harman van der Waal and Payuwono Imanto. Group 2 moderated by Indah Lestari and Reza Arlianda, and accompanied by Hasti Tarekat, directly from Amsterdam. Group discussion 3 with the moderator Prinka and note taker Monique Fasti, and will be under supervising eyes of Pak Eko Prawoto. And group discussion 4, moderator is Nur Fajrina, note taker Ahmad Rifki, will be accompanied by Pak Endro Prasetyo Wahono. And our last discussion group, moderated by Ines, and note taker Muhammad Dedi Anwar, and accompanied by Pak Singgi Susilo Kartono. And the group discussion will be, okay.
Hello, everyone.
Morning.
Good night or good afternoon here in Delft. Is everyone here, or we still need to wait? Oh yeah, I think. Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome to breakout session 4. And I'm Nur Fajrina. I will be a moderator for this group. And our note takers today is Mas Ahmad. And for Mas Ahmad, can you please share screen our mural board for our discussion today? Please. Yeah. That's our mural board. So in this discussion, we will try to discuss the main question: what can we learn from the village while facing a fast changing environment? So maybe we can also ask question. Here we have Pak Endro. So maybe if someone want to ask question to him more about his presentation. So yeah, maybe someone can start. Who wants to start first, maybe?
Can I start?
Yeah, sure.
I'm Mustafa from Malaysia. Pak Endro, Pak Gerard, and Bu. I saw in your slide, Pak Endro, that you put some very empirical as well as qualitative values that villages have got this innovation and also power that can actually change the way that we choose to live in the world today, where cities has always ruled. I don't know, but in one of my questions I put in the main board is, how can we actually change the way the administrative structure? Because if we can change the administrative structure to manage the village, I think we can create more than what the cities have, because cities are very, how shall I say, hierarchical. That means to say there's a top, there's a bottom, there's a middle, and you need to follow the rules of individual level. Is that acceptable? That's my suggestion on all questions to the group. Thank you.
Okay, I think Pak Endro can also answer it right now.
Okay, yeah, Mbak Nur, this I think is the interesting highlight from Pak Mustafa. Maybe we can put it on the board. How the administrative structure is it possible to what you call it, the restructure, not like in the city, which is very what you call it, straight from the top to the middle and the top to the bottom directly. Is it possible to reconstruct? Well, based on my experience, if we can learn from the villager, actually, Pak Mustafa, usually they have some kind of informal leader that actually is not really rely on the administrative structure on the village. So this is also the interesting what you call it, the informal organization that usually commonly used by the villager, not only the formal administrative organization, but also the informal organization, or informal, what you call it, hierarchy. Something like, when you have a culture, as I mentioned on the presentation, the culture usually also connected with the structure of the social structure of the villager. So I think we have to be, like adaptive with the condition of the villager itself. So when we learn based on my experience, many different villages have different culture actually. So at least from the condition of the culture and how the social structure on the village, we can learn how the best organization structure to be constructed. This is my opinion, Pak Mustafa.
Thank you very much, Pak Endro, for the answer. That's interesting that you said that the different village has a different social structure, so we can have a specific kind of how we can organize for each village. Yeah, that's maybe the first point that we can write in our mural board. And maybe some other comments or some other question. Maybe Pak Gerard, yeah, I saw you. Yeah, Pak Gerard.
Greetings from Goedemiddag from Harderwijk in Holland. That is the
Goedemiddag.
city with ikan lumba in Harderwijk.
Yeah.
Okay, my question for Pa Endro is, if we talk about sustainability and environment, and also sustainable development goals, ini kan terlalu jauh ya, dijangkau by the village. It's very far-fetched. ideals atau idealisme. How is that also a living idea atau living philosophy in the village, in the villager's head?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is also something interesting, Pak Herat. Long time no see, Pak Herat. Nice to see you again. Well, of course, the way the villager come up with the something we call sustainable development goal. Yes, I agree with you that this is kind of really not really easy to reach by the villager, but actually the villager have their own way to find a similar indicator, as I mentioned, that the simplicity, let's say the indicator of reach or connected with the water supply. If we wish the one of the sustainable development goal indicator, or for the what you call it, the access the water water supply. I think the villager have their own way how to connect this kind of resources by their own struggle. Usually villager, usually on the upland side of the river, they find the spring and then bring in the water to the village by using bamboo, for example. This is kind of the effort from the villager, how they connected with the very basic need of reaching the water supply. Well, sometimes we have to a bit adjust the indicator, actually, how the villages or villager can adopt and apply this kind of indicator more, like their own way.
But Pak Andrew and Pak Gerard,
yeah,
in my opinion, if people want to know how to achieve SDG 1 to 17, the answer is in the village. You just pick and choose how do you do this, because as what Pak Andrew has already shown, that at various parts of the village or various area of the village, they got their own solution for the SDG 3, for instance, or SDG 2, the hunger, or FDG sustainable community. They already know, because each and every one have got their own layers. So I think the answers are all in the village. So I think one of the boxes there should fill the answers to the questions of SDG 1 to 17 is in the village. So we must take stock, keep the answers, take the answers, and use the answers to the cities. And I think this is actually the Pandora box of the SDGs 1 to 17, and we can actually accelerate to achieve it. That within that 10 years, if we use village as our mirror to adopt, to learn, something like that.
Yeah, I think that's
that's possible.
Yeah, that's very possible. And yeah, we have here already 3 points, and maybe someone want to add more, another points or another question to Pak Andrew. Here also we have Mas Dito. Maybe Mas Dito want to have his opinion.
Not for now, Mbak Fajrian.
Okay, okay. My sister is from Neso, so yeah.
Maybe Pak Mustafa or Pak Kirat can share the experience how the villagers in the Netherlands or in Malaysia can adopt or apply this kind of achieving the SDGs or something like how to sustain the culture to survive or something like that.
That would be interesting. Yeah, Pak Gerald.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in Holland, these are very big estate, agriculture estate, let's say 300 hectares or 500 hectares. And the farmers, you have livestock farmers, but also agriculture farmers, monoculture. So if I look at the monoculture, then my conclusion is it's not sustainable. Yeah. And if I look how they spread the cow dung on the grassland, then that's for the nitrate pollution. Then I say also it's not sustainable. So what the government will do now, they will bail out a lot of agriculture people, the farmers, so that they pay them millions of euro, and then the farmers can go on holiday or on pension, yeah, retirement, like me. So this is fantastic. I'm a civil engineer, but I have chosen the wrong job. Yeah, because study 9 years in Delft is just waste of time, and I'm still not a millionaire.
So it's better to be a farmers there.
Yeah.
Millionaire, not millionaire, millionaire.
Millionaire.
I am a civilized engineer now. Civilized.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Maybe a point because in Malaysia also we are relearning the forefathers of our villagers, and one of the big things that our forefathers taught is the value and the importance of food security is very crucial. And villagers, no matter how abundant they have, they will always have how shall I say, a stockpile somewhere. And I think cities don't have that, but the villages do have their stockpile, whether it's for the rainy season, for the flood, or for any emergency. Somehow or other, during our forefathers, they don't go hungry. There is always food that they can actually have, even though when the agriculture is not very good for that year. So it's how they use the food security from the village points.
Yeah, that's also interesting. Yeah,
Very important.
Yeah,
food
security.
security.
Food security. Yeah.
Itu awal mulanya ya.
Yeah, betul, Pak.
Yeah.
But in somehow, villagers also have the capability to adjust. Like when, for example, when rice is expensive, then they shift to another or other food sources. This is also the capability. Is very interesting. I don't know if it is under pressure or let's say the capability of adjusting. This is
that is not capability. That is agility.
Agility, yes.
Kemahiran.
Yeah, agility to
another one that we can learn. Another one we can learn is actually water saving. Always before in the rural area, before you go up to the house, there is always washing the feet, and the water is always from the rain, and that's where the starting point for rainwater harvesting. And I think this is very, very important, and we need to learn more, not just from whatever we've been taught about engineering of rainwater harvesting, but I think the kampung rainwater also very crucial for their agriculture, food, and also for drinking water. I think that is that's why I was talking about the informal, not social structure only, but administrative structure of village to manage the whole resources of a village. So maybe number one should also have social and administrative structure of village.
Okay, so
Yeah,
it should be
legal.
social and
Legal.
administrative structure. Yeah.
Illegal.
Yeah.
Oh, and legal.
A legal umbrella.
Legal umbrella, yes. Legal binding. Yeah, Mbak Nur, legal binding or legal aspect also. I
Okay,
think
yeah.
something is important to notice.
Betul.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's a great discussion. Now we have all the post-it notes.
You got one more minute.
Yeah, we just have one more minute.
Because automatically you go back to the room.
We just have one more minute. Maybe just chat or also maybe someone if want to have
other participant maybe
yeah,
Pak Doni, Pak Agustin.
Yeah, or maybe in Indonesia it's also okay. Then I can translate it. I think everyone knows bahasa now here. Pak, or well, we just have 30 seconds here, so.
Thank you for moderating, Mbak Nur.
Yeah, and also thank you everyone for the input and for all the question and
I'm just a foot soldier. Yeah, I'm just a foot soldier. You are the boss.
Thank you, Pak Endro. Thank you, Pak Gerard.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm learning also.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, let's back to the main session.
Yeah, see you on the main session.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the main session. I hope you all in those 5 discussion groups have had a fruitful discussion, and we will see the results of the discussions appearing in the screen right now. Oh, first the selected questions. Okay, there is an anonymous question directed to all resource persons. In your opinion, what could government do to solve environment degradation issues in villages and rural area due to urbanization? I invite Pak Singgi, Pak Endro to give your opinion as an answer to this question, please. Pak Singgi, are you still with us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bu Pauline, excuse me, can you show me the question again? I'm sorry.
Okay. This first question from Anonymous. What could government do to solve the environmental degradation issues as well in villages and rural area because of this urbanization?
Oh yeah. Let me think. What happened in villages actually is the damage of the nature, the degradation in the nature, actually the source of the problem actually on the people. It means that if it also relate to the quality of education. If the people, if the the education is not good, it usually is the give the impact to the quality of the villages. So I think it's good to give a better education. And in my experience in the project of Spedagi movement, the degradation of the village as for example the papringan, the bamboo garden, actually is also a problem of the people see themselves and see the village itself, because they already a long time to use bamboo and they become boring, and they have no experience on how to use a bamboo to make a high added value. So they become very pessimistic with that. So we try how to solve that, to give a solution with creative solution, because if already born about and already inferior, it's difficult for just give education on how to preserve the nature with a conventional approach. I hope that is my answer. Thank you.
Okay, maybe Pa Andro would like to add something.
Yeah, I think I agree with Pa Singge. Education is very important, especially for the young, both villager and also the urban, especially for the knowledge to how they maintain and the preserve the environment. But actually, something that happened actually based on my experience, the environmental degradation is not only based on the activity on that side, but mostly based on the activity from other side. As we know that for example, the catchment, river catchment, then usually the upper region is, facing with the exploration, with the, deforestation and activity that not environmental friendly, then the impact is faced by the other region, especially on the downstream of the area. This is always happen in our area. So that's why the impact of autonomous region also have to be, something that have to be solved, because when you doing something in the other region, then you don't have any, obligation to solve the problem on the other side. So the what we discussed on the breakout room, this is important to raise up the legal binding of the activity. I think this is my opinion, Bu Pauline.
Okay, thank you, Pak Endro. Maybe Harman or Pak Eko Prawoto would like to add something?
Yes, I would like to add something, but maybe Pak Eko
Yes,
wants
go
to.
ahead.
Yeah, later.
Well,
You go
obvious.
first, Arman.
One of the things that has been mentioned several times is local wisdom. I do absolutely believe that this is not an education issue. I think people already know a lot. People know how to deal with their own environment. I think it's a matter of some kind of context or maybe ownership. So while on the one hand, it's very interesting that there's this regional independence at the moment, villages can take their development in their own hands. I think it's also important to give, in that context, enough information about how other villages are also working with it. In that sense, I completely agree with what the previous speaker has been saying. Villages are part of a network, and what happens in one village will automatically influence another village. So going back to the question what the government can do, I think the government doesn't need to do a lot, but what they should do is facilitate some kind of, let's call it a platform, where everybody can discuss on a level playing field what kind of developments should be done. If you should develop or move the development of a region more towards modern nature, or maybe a bit more to the city, and I think there's a lot of different possibilities there. I think that's something that you should discuss together, and it's a discussion that should be facilitated technically also. Once this is facilitated, I think people can make choices from it.
Okay, thank you, Harman. Pak Eko Prawoto, silahkan.
Yeah, maybe there will be, in my opinion, three things that the government could do. The first, respect the nature, understanding the nature of the nature. And the second, respect the tradition of the local people, because tradition, every tradition rooted in the respecting the nature also. And the third is more flexible in legal aspect, because the government now sometimes very stiff and not appreciating the differences. So they're just imposing that one rule for every district or every village. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. It's such a captivating statement you have mentioned again, Pak Eko, understanding the nature of the nature. Amazing. Let's move to the second question to all resources person too. Oh, I think this is really concerning the urban and rural linkage. What we discussed earlier about should it be a competition, and the city is having this urbanization and the village become the victim, or how can we shift to that linkage and a healthy balance? Who wants to answer first, Pak Eko, or maybe Harman again with his Desa Kota? He's been fighting for this linkage for decades, I think.
I think we should be more open, sit together and talk and make a plan.
I think what's interesting is if we think about the linkages, you should think about two things. I think it's very important to have the proper mobility link. But it's also very important to disconnect at some points, because you see that whenever a piece of rural landscape is accessible, it's also open for all kinds of new developments. Maybe at some places we just should have places of being not linked. And maybe that's one of the things that we can, so we're, as planners, we're only trying to make things possible. Maybe sometimes we have to make things impossible to make yet other things possible. And maybe I'm not very clear, but I have the feeling that sometimes you have to stop things in order to allow other developments.
Indeed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Pauline. Thank you. My opinion is we have to doing something like asset mapping, what urban have, what rural have, what urban do not have, and so on. From this kind of mapping, then we can learn. Usually, urban have resource for, I mean, the capital of the economic capital. Rural have the natural capital and social capital. Then we can learn what kind of linkage we can share. I agree with Carmen, like, you know, we have to doing some agreement with kind of part we have to serve and preserve, I mean, not doing something and that part. So just leave it as nature.
Yeah, I think based on the concept Cyril actually is not about Cyril actually able to happen in what we call city now, and able to happen in what we call village now. It means that is there is in the city Cyril phenomena is actually when the city thinks that there is something not complete or something is not good in the city, they try to get or import it from the village. I mean, it's about values, not about material. And in the village, it's actually like the village that adopted the technology, and it's also a kind of to balance their life, and they take it from the city life. But in my prediction, Cyril, all of in the future, there will be no city or rural. There are only Cyril in many sizes. I mean, there is the big Cyril, maybe the medium Cyril, and the small Cyril. And the location maybe the rural, it's the Cyril in the rural. And I also agree with Harman that in the future, maybe we need an open and close about the community, because what we learned from the pandemic, it's good that a community able to close if something happen like that. But the advancement of technology now, because of industrialization, it make everything open. But the best one is we should able to open and close, depend on the needs of the community like that. But in my thinking, that is in the future, the opposite will become friends, like the community, like social enterprise, like co-health, like Hamcha, human and nature. I think in the city and rural will be a Cyril. There will be no city and there will be no rural. It will be Cyril. Thank you.
May I add, Pauline?
Maybe we can move to the next question. And there's a question directed to Pak Singgi.
Oh.
Sorry?
Yeah.
What do you think that with the prediction that in 2050, 2/3 of the world population will live in this city? How do you relate to the statement of the village is our future, and should we go back to the garden city movement, for example?
I think,
Silakan.
yeah, I think what happened in the history that we feel unbalanced situation, we try to balance it. That is very, very natural. So if 2/3 of the world population will live in the city is unbalanced. So it will not happen because there will be something it's not feel good to the global community like that. And the other thing is that we have the goals of like SDGs on sustainability goals. It means two-thirds of the world population live in the city. It will be not relate to that goals. So I think based on my thinking, uh, it will be not good, and I'm not agree, and I don't believe. But if because in the life it will be something happen like this, who take the power, and if the parties that take the big powers tends to keep the industrialization life is going strong, it will be happen like that because there is a business and there's a politics that also give a big impact to the life. So the ideal and the reality will be depend on the real situation like that. But normally, if we want to make a sustainable life in this world, I think we should think about how to balance our life. 2/3 of the world population in the city is not balanced.
Thank you, Pak Singgi. Okay, another question also directed to Pak Singgi and Pak Endro. What are your tips to make villages more attractive for young people to avoid brain drain in the area? Please go ahead, Pak Singgi and Pak Endro.
Monggo Pak Endro, duluan Pak.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Singgi. I think the question actually is already answered by Pak Singgi and his movement. How to attract the young people and to be innovative and knowing and mapping what the village actually have. I mean, the asset mapping is already, usually in the beginning is very important. Then from that mapping, we can start what we can do. Like exactly what Pak Singgi do is, for example, doing a simple thing, turning the papringan from the backyard to be a very innovative market. It is, something that we can learn and reproduce for the other villagers.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm agree with Pak Indro. The other what make me in case of Indonesia, but I'm thinking it's a big problem in Indonesia is about the direct election of the head of the village. This is a big problem because most of the village are low quality on education, and democracy actually is related to the quality of the people there. So I guess more than 90% of the quality of election in the village is not good, and they have no good leaders. Based on my experience, I already maybe 30 years in my village, and there is no good leaders. And it's very, very difficult to live in, to make the village is good in good development. And I think that is one point, and the other is actually is, yeah, the first one is to inspire, give many inspiration. What I show you in the my presentation about the purpose generation is the sample that young people succeed, able to stay, and they have a wealthy life, but also they able to give benefit to people surrounding. The other thing is we should also give facilitate, and the most important now is about internet access. If the internet access is good, there will be one of attractive things. And I also thinking about how to bring the universities close to the villages. I mean, that is in a small city, there should be universities, not in big cities. They should only go maybe 10 kilometers or 20 kilometers and they are able to back to their home village. It also a big solution, I think.
Okay, thank you. Next question is for Harman. On your experience, how do you compare the challenges and then transformations that happen between the villages of the Netherlands and Indonesia? Please go ahead, Harman.
A couple of years ago, I would have said this is very easy, but now it's not so easy, I guess. There are some differences, some clear differences. One of them is that there's the network of urban planners is extremely developed in the Netherlands. And if you look at the amount of urban planners per capita, it's much higher in the Netherlands than in Indonesia. So I would say it's easy in the Netherlands. But lately, I'm not so very sure. What we see now is there's a new discussion coming up in the Netherlands about what we call the boxing of the environment. What happens is that some big international firms come to specific areas in the Netherlands and they ask if they can build huge transportation centers. They're really huge and they really change the landscape. These firms bring in a lot of money. So it's very difficult for the villages to, or the municipalities to just ignore this. What we see is that every municipality is trying to get it for themselves. So there's some kind of a competition, and this competition is somehow damaging the landscape. Something similar is, I think, to be seen in Indonesia, that there is a local there's a local government for whom it's very difficult to withstand the offers that come from outside, because the money involved and the knowledge involved from those entrepreneurs from outside is so much bigger than what is present in those villages. So somehow I would say we have similar problems. And I think the way to solve these similar problems are, among others, communication between one another, but also awareness, creation of awareness. It is important to have, to elevate the economy. At the same time, it's also important to keep your landscape, your cultural landscape intact. And that's always a difficult thing. I hope it's answering your question a bit.
Yes, thank you. Now we have the last question, and I would like to direct this question specifically to Pak Eko Prawoto. How can we give the power and responsibilities to the villager in order for them to plan, protect, provide, as well as preserve the villages in the light of 2030 SDGs? Thank you, Pak Prawoto. Go ahead.
Well, villagers belong to agriculture, which is they live more in a collective spirit, so to say. So it's also depend on the leader. And the villagers, they know actually what they should do based on the collective experience for such a long years, so that they know what to do actually. But the problem is the instruction, the top-down instruction, usually not appreciating or not fit with the real situation or the real condition. So I believe that a certain flexibility and facilitating a little bit, it could be very significant for them, for encouragement to make a good plan for themselves, and yeah, they have their own ability. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for all the clarifying answers and the statements as to conclude our question and answers. And now I would like to present the results of group discussion in our 5 breakout sessions. So we will go briefly one by one. So culture and architecture, that's the future, right? Culture is the backbone, and the beauty is also a winning aspect in the creative industry. Here, the group mentioned cooperation, which is a key word, and villages with local wisdom and skills. Oh yeah, behavior change is also very important. Right, next. Yes, the managing of resources and skill that could prevent the brain drain, which already happening right now. And oh, this is a very interesting statement. The fact that the city cannot live without the village. The balance between cities and village, and harmonious balance is very important. Next. Cooperative with the nature, like the statement earlier that we should know the nature of the nature, and we need a certain paradigm shift of the city dwellers, the urbanists, about the romanticism perspective of a village, and the feminine approach to develop a village, and a very, very strong point of view. Next, group 4. Yes, we need to have to empower the village, of course, to reach their own potential, also in the light of the SDGs, because we cannot use the same currency for the city and for the village. The value of food stockpile is really important. We need the food security, and not to forget the food self-sufficiency. Legal binding. Okay, the last. This new word of spiritual, the balance between the spiritual and material is very important to develop, as well as the livable of the cities and the livability of the village. The interconnection, not only the city village, but also the local community and the government. And yes, this is a big cycle, the big process that is already going on, because the city or the village is not merely about a place, not about just a space, but it is the mentality and the perception. Very nice outcome of each groups. Thank you for all the efforts and the discussions. And now it's time for me to present you the conclusion of the main session as well as also the breakout session. You know, villages and cities, it should not be in competition. It should not be becoming the one is the perpetrator and the other is the victim. But cities and villages should be more in harmonic balance, somehow collaborating and developing its own identity to its own full potential. We should not dictate the development of the village according to the parameter of the city development. And the respect for nature should be back on our agenda. It should be back to our priority once more. As stated earlier, agriculture is not just an aspect of culture, but agriculture and food sufficiency is the source, like the mother and the foundation of all culture. If we want the villages to thrive again, it's very important, very essential to take the water, to take care and to embrace the water management as in every aspect, not just in the waste or the main irrigation, but in all aspects. We take care of the nature and the nature will take care of us, of course. And to conclude the conclusion, I'm just thankful that this pandemic is not just a threat. Maybe many of us experience fear and maybe a panic, maybe, but it is also an opportunity. Just look at the movement, Sepedagi movement bersepeda pagi was launched by Pak Singgih many years ago. Who would ever thought that now on the streets of Jakarta, on Tangerang, Surabaya, so many people, thousands of people are doing it, bersepeda pagi. This is, I think, something to be thankful about for the positive shift during such a challenging time. I thank you for your time, for your precious contribution, your discussion, your statement. That's very valuable. Then we can take this as to enrich how we proceed in the future, how we proceed in the further development and creating the balance between the cities and the village. Thank you for your time. Now I give back to Ibu Hasti. Ibu Hasti, are you?
Yes. I'm unmute my things. Hey, thank you to Pauline, and thank you to all participants and all the resource persons who have stayed until the end of the webinar. It has been a long day. Your active participation and contributions are very meaningful. And please note that you could watch this webinar again via IDN Livable Cities YouTube channel, and the summary will be posted on our website as well. So please stay tuned. And also, we would like to thanks again for all the sponsors and partners, Nuffic Neso Indonesia and Holland Alumni Network, Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy, PT Propan Raya ICC and Ateja, and not to mention our partners, IDN NL, IDN United, IDN Global, and ICANET. And about the feedback survey, please do not forget to fill in the feedback survey via the link written here. The link is also provided in the Zoom chat box. So we are looking forward to your feedback for our improvements of the next webinar. And now we come to the announcement of the door prize winner. So we will see what's, yeah, okay. So now you can read the 5 winners, Yasin Bima, Ananta Vanitya, Nato Yap, Mel Wijoyo and Meisa Yulia. Congratulations for all of you. And congratulations to all the winners. And on behalf of the organizing committee, I would like to say Merry Christmas and season's greetings to all of you who celebrate, and Happy New Year to all of us. So this year, 2020 is hard for everyone, but I do hope that there is a lesson learned for everyone, because every dark cloud has a silver lining. And most important, as a closing, is the photo sessions. So if you agree, please turn on your camera and give your best smile, because we are going to have a group photo. And I think Yulia on the organizing committee will take a picture of us. So please smile. And Yulia, could you let us know when you finish?
Yes, just wait for a moment. I'm setting up the settings. Okay, everyone, turn on your camera and give your best smile. Okay, so I'm in the first page right now. I see Pa Endro, Daliana, Ibu Hasti, Pa Eko. Now in the second page, I see Pak Martin, Pa Bambang Hari Wibisono, and Ibu Wiwi Chiok. Wait. Okay, so for the third page, I see Ibu Irina, I see Lavinia and Prinkap. Please give your Pepsodent smile right now. Okay. Wait for a second. Yes. Okay, I'm done. So thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone, and have a good rest for those in Asia. And we are in Europe, still have to have an evening. Bye. Thank you, and see you in the next webinar. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye. Thank you,
everyone.
everyone. Have a blessed
Have a
day.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.